Hi everybody, it's the Audiophile Journeyman. I wanted to get a video back to more of equipment review or display really. I wanted to do on some of the early components that I have. This is a setup I have I purchased it pretty much as a grail item. I had always, I couldn't afford these when I was growing up. I had worked in a stereo store in the stock room, pretty much, unloading the UPS truck and bringing stuff to clients' houses and that kind of thing. And of course, I saw these on display when they were brand new and couldn't afford them. So one of the goals I always had, like, it would be great to get these things, one day. And so I happened to come upon them at a store as used equipment, and I purchased them from a store rather than individual. At least the two components you see, the preamp and the amp, they're both Apt Corporation. And like I said, I worked in a store that was kind of high end, couldn't afford these items, loved the way they sounded back, this is like 1980 time frame, 81, and thought they were great. I really wish I could afford them because things I purchased instead that I could afford, I put all in the used market, and of course they promptly broke down and I couldn't, obviously, and you have to get them fixed, and you just put good money into things that you probably should have waited a year and bought these instead, and I would have still had them working today, is really what I'm trying to say. I picked these up, like I said, used from a store, and both together, the bottom piece is the power amplifier. It is the Apt Power Amplifier 1, it's known, and up on top is the Holman preamplifier. There's kind of a classic piece from the time, and both perfectly working condition, plugged them right in. They turned on and they worked, period. Sound fine and good to go. The speakers you see are the ADS. They're the 710 models from about the same time frame, and again, worked in the store. I originally myself bought a pair of JBLs way back then that were store demos from another store. The store I worked in was beneath them to sell JBL, let's put it that way. It's kind of the outlook that they probably had. Of course, they were large, and I thought they were cool. I wish I'd bought like a pair of ADS 910s or something. Really would have enjoyed those speakers, and would have had a working pair today of those speakers. I would have kept them, and they'd probably be working just fine. But anyway, I love the way these speakers sound. They use the ATC has a similar setup. I've demoed those speakers at manufacturer, and they have outstanding speakers. If you get a chance to listen to ATC, take it. They have both active and passive. I heard the passives, didn't hear the actives, but either way, sounded great. So back to the discussion. So the amplifier is, I believe, 100 watts per channel, Class AB, and the preamp's a fully functional with the phono stage. It's a true preamp. It's got tone controls, and you can bypass them. It's just standard kind of thing. Again, works great out of the box, handles straightforward RCAs. Of course, everything on the back is probably a metal connection, same with the speakers. It's amazing the sound quality you get, considering you look at some of the way connections are done and components are done. And they're kind of, in today's market, will be looked at as well. You can probably do better with ferric faceplate on the back of the speaker and that kind of attitude. But they have great imaging, great dynamics. I just love the way the ADS speakers sounded in the day. And again, I picked these up not at the store, but a local personal sale. Somebody had them up for sale locally to me on like Craigslist or whatever. And I went, purchased them. They were great. What can I say? They're not perfect for low-end bass, but they're very good. They're probably down into the 60, 50s, maybe low 50s for true dynamics, and maybe in the upper 40s. So I'd compare them with a subwoofer, pair them up, and they'd be probably even better. I have them up, like set up like this. You can see them in one frame. I didn't want to have them separate on the floor. Again, these are 1980 vintage things, and they worked great back then. Then they were probably thought of as real high-end audio, leading edge, very well done, very different sounding. For especially the Apt stuff was very unique. And if I had purchased it then, if anybody's purchased it then, they probably still have a working piece of equipment still to this day. And that's the intriguing part. Okay, it was more money then, but in relative speak, you'd have some useful thing for 40 years and just be able to use it anytime you wanted, and it would probably work great. So it's just a tribute to these components and how they were done and how they were just, built and everything else. I'm not going to get up and interrupt the video, but on the bottom of the preamp, there's a full schematic of the preamp right there from the factory. So if anything happens, you want to repair it yourself, I guess, you just turn the thing, look at the schematic. If you know how to read them and work with soldering or whatever you need to do, you can repair the item yourself or bring it into a repair shop and there's a schematic right with it, so you don't have to order one or anything. So it just goes to show it's a different outlook and things with these pieces of equipment. Just real user-friendly. Again, it's real straightforward. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit for the preamp. You see tone controls, you see different settings, bass bypass. A lot of those things you'll play around with and use, and be honest, I don't really hear much of a difference. They sound great. I stream with it right off the title. No problem. Play CDs, no problem. Standard RCA connections on the back across the board. The only odd thing is there's no power switch on the power amplifier. So I have it to the switched on the preamp, back of the preamp. I just connected to that. And potentially, I think maybe that's the way they originally intended it. You just connect it to your preamp, you turn that on and off, and the amp turns off with it. And again, in today's components, you always hear, oh, you have to have your own power supply for it. It would be a lot of noise. Probably true. But with these things, it doesn't seem to be that, it doesn't be much of a difference if I plug it into the wall or through the preamp. It sounds equally as good. Again, if you've seen these items or have any interest, they're out online. You just search for them and find them. I got these from Hawthorne Stereo. They just happen to have it. Just message them and they ship the items directly to me. Just all online. I'm across the country. It didn't matter. And, they probably they had shipping insurance in case it was damaged, but perfectly working when it left their store and it worked perfectly when I received it. And this was probably 2 years ago now. So I just listened to it earlier today and it's working fine. Right. So, again, it's Apt, A-P-T. It's the Holman preamp and the Power Amp 1. And the speakers are ADS 710s. That's pretty much, I think, a midline speaker for that era. It's probably the first one with the dual woofers. You can see I took the cover off, and it's got the cloth covers, which was interesting to me. It's an earlier part of those. All right, so I just wanted to run by these. I will do some sound demos from these and put out some videos of recordings. All right, so thank you very much, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks. Bye.